All right. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's time for the Monday Night Weekly's grand final. REYNOR in the top right side of the map. Team Liquid's CLEM in the bottom left. Of course, Basilisk for Team REYNOR. And guess what, guys? CLEM hasn't lost a series. CLEM did not lose to anybody. He smashed everybody. REYNOR, unfortunately, has once again fallen victim to Solar earlier in the bracket. But he's worked his way through the losers bracket, managed to beat Solar in the lower bracket in just a best of one. So even though he is down a map head-to-head, does get through Solar. But that means that it's a best-of-3 finals. If CLEM wins the best-of-3, it's lights out, it's over. If REYNOR wins a best-of-3, he has to then win a second best-of-3. So CLEM gets 2 chances, REYNOR only gets 1. And that is the way it goes, man. This is the format. We haven't cast one of these in a while, but for those who've been watching the channel for a while, you would be familiar with this format, of course, from times we've seen a lot of like CLEM Max Pack series, for instance, that sort of stuff. We've really seen quite a few different moments where it's been, if you play in the upper bracket finals, it can be best of 3, and then there can be 2 more best of 3. So sometimes we've cast like 9-game upper finals and grand finals combined. A lot of like Hero CLEM series, you guys might remember of those, where it's best of 3 into best of 3 into best of 3. Some really fun ones. We'll see how this goes. REYNOR recently brought out some very clever builds against CLEM. I do feel like REYNOR is very weak to Protoss. I think his ZVZ is insanely good right now. I think he might be favored even against Rogue. I really just feel like Solar has REYNOR's number and is very difficult to play against. Are you lagging too, or is it the Italian classic REYNOR? Maybe at his grandma's house again. Actually, sorry, I think his grandma has better internet than him, right? I think he goes to his grandma's house to escape his like crappy mountain internet sometimes. And of course to get some of that grandma's cooking as well. CLEM not suffering any lag apparently. He says, "Nope, I'm feeling good, man." Those servers, they're in either France or Germany. I think they're slightly closer. CLEM's internet doesn't have to go through the Alps to get there, whereas REYNOR's does. How do they have fiber optic cables through the Alps, guys? How does that run? I imagine they do, right? In Australia, we run cables along the ocean floor. Occasionally an earthquake or a horny whale comes along and disrupts it, but usually it's not too bad to Southeast Asia. But getting all the way to Europe, of course, pretty laggy for us. Reaper's going to come in, start just chipping away. Chipping. But good micro for REYNOR. Queen's out, and that red hit point Zergling pulls away really nicely. He's going to try and abuse the ledge a little bit, but as you can see, with the second queen coming down, CLEM has to back out. Third command center should be... Oh, that's a little late. He was at 550 minerals when that went down. Wow. Slight mistake for CLEM, but he is going double Reaper into reactor, so that delays the factory, swapping over the reactor slightly, but it really allows him to try and block the third base. Unfortunately for him, REYNOR already snuck the drone out. So he had an SCV patrolling the third and a second Reaper, and he doesn't even get the block down. Great start for REYNOR. REYNOR realizing CLEM loves to block expansions, and this is the same adjustment that we all learned. Everyone learned this from Shin at Dallas. Remember, Shin beat CLEM at Dallas, and it was game 2. He basically hit a drone and took his third base. He even delayed his second queen to get his third out as quickly as possible, because he realized if I let CLEM block my third, it's just like he's going to be able to micro his Reapers, pick off another drone, pick off a few Zerglings, mess up my entire opening. You can't let CLEM get momentum like that. CLEM is just too good on the micro front, and you've got to be really cautious about letting him get any advantages. I know as someone, I've managed to have the joy of being a victim of CLEM in many weekly cups, and every time I play him, I always wonder, is his Reaper going to kill 5 drones, 7? Like, it's insane. Because the moment you leave an opening, my gosh, his Reaper Hellion harassment is just so hard to deal with. Reminds me of Innovation back in the day. We're even actively competing. Innovation's 6 Hellions and a Reaper was so much harder to deal with than anybody else's. I was just like, how do these units do so much more damage than a normal Terrans? And that's kind of the CLEM effect as well. Cloaked Banshee's on the way. Single Evo chamber. He wants to go for the fast carapace. Something Lambo theory crafted a long time ago is the more optimal way to play in this matchup, because that is the most important upgrade. Melee, really not nearly as important. And a lot of Zergs, of course, not having carapace done at a good timing hurts them. But in this case, a nice quick carapace. 6 queens are out. 2 more on the way. We are going to see 2 more barracks go down. This is a very standard follow-up, guys. You'll see, because he's going Cloaked Banshee, he's going to take 2 gases and then 2 engineering bays after that. If he hadn't gone Cloaked Banshees, he could go straight for the engineering bays, then the gas. It's a very small flip in the build, but not a big difference. And actually, CLEM goes engineering bays first. Well, he kind of does it at the same time. But as I was going to say, you won't have the gas to start 1-1 when both of those finish, just because 2 Banshees is 200 gas, Cloak's another 100 gas. So it's much more expensive than, say, if you just opened with, say, a single Viking or a Viking and a Liberator. You're only looking at, like, 200 gas, about 100 gas saving. Does make a pretty big difference in those openings. Second Evo Chamber and a Lairs on the way. REYNOR with the quick carapace. Now, there's 2 styles we've seen from REYNOR to counter CLEM recently, both inspired by both Shin and Scarlet, 2 very clever players. Scarlet, of course, it's an older build of hers that has been making a comeback, which is Mass Hydra. But this looks a little bit more like he's going to stay on low gas. He's only on 2 gases and go straight for the couple of Ultras. You can tech up to Ultras, potentially Ling Infester even. You can play Ling Infester into Ultra. It's a style that I've been thinking about for a long time. It's incredibly fragile. As you can imagine, if Marines get in a corner and you don't have any fungal nearby, you don't have any Banelings, it's really dangerous. But it's the quick Ultras that you're really aiming for. That's the strong point. Oh, the high energy queen barely gets to safety. Good moves with the queens. The overseer's a little bit late. The other queens come over to reinforce. Perfect transfuse as REYNOR does manage to deflect. Doesn't lose anything. Really well done. And that infestation pit was delayed by that attack. He could have thrown that down probably 30 seconds earlier. But that's the pressure of CLEM, right? He had to deal with the Banshee Hellions. Now the queens are splitting back up. Really good job. A lot of people would stay clumped after a pressure like that. But REYNOR realizes, no. You're gonna keep splitting back up now. And he splits his queens back into 2 control groups again. Really well played by REYNOR. +2 carapace starts at 635. He is miles ahead of the +2 attack on Terran, as the armory hasn't even started yet for CLEM. CLEM going for the second factory. We do expect a 4th command center as well. That infestation pit's almost finished. Guys, I think we're going to see a hive. Pre-7-minute hive is really juicy. Infestation pit's done, and there we go, 653 hive. Wow. And he can squeeze in an infester, but it's just 1. And the reason is his gas count is so low. He's up to 5 gases now, but it's all about getting this 4th mineral line saturated as quickly as possible. And then your Lings aren't going to be able to fight front on that well, but if you counterattack, which is exactly what he's doing, there's a command center out in the open. There are units out in the open. Now, CLEM realizes what's happening. He's got the 2 Banshees. Oh, the Banshee's going to shut it down. I think this is really good for CLEM, because CLEM's 4th command center comes up. He's got a tank on the front. He's got the Marines there. I think, man, REYNOR's army, he's building drones right now. This just seems like a really scary moment. I mean, CLEM's army's not that strong, but it's just an awkward moment, and queens on their own are going to struggle to engage into that. The queens do not want to chase into tank fire. Widowmine production has started. Did he go drilling claws? No drilling claws just yet. No 2-2 either. Armory is finished, but no 2-2 started. CLEM, he's got to get a move on with those upgrades. Like, yes, he's very focused on getting a good position. 2-2 finally starts. +2 carapace dangerously close right now for REYNOR, though. Queens are hanging out on the front. REYNOR, 80 Zerglings, 2 Infestors. Oh, the fungal comes out, and the second one, and he's going to kill about 10 Marines with that. Really well done. That was fantastic. Maybe even more than 10. It's a total of 14 Marines have gone down this game for 15 Zerglings. That feels pretty good as a Zerg player when you are out trading the Terran. But of course, when push comes to shove, you don't have Ultras yet. The Ultra Caverns just now started. There has been a big delay on those Ultras because of the heavy pressure of CLEM. Lings coming in with these queens to try and defend the Hellbats are getting pushed back, but that siege tank is very deep in the territory at the same time. There is double drop over on this side. These Lings, they will get on top of it, but it's in a bit of a corner, and that's a real problem at the same time. Push comes in the front. Another fungal lands, but only on a single Hellbat. Great pickup there for CLEM. 1 siege tank will go down. REYNOR's going to jump on top. He's got to get on top of this other siege tank. Finally, he does, and he evicts the siege tanks from the position that... Oh! He defends the right side as well. Gets rid of a medevac. Marines in the open right now. CLEM straggling into the fight. Disarray. And the Terran has been routed from the front position initially. Now he regroups, unwilling to give up ground. The Infestors have burrowed, and they are rotating around. Infestor fungal energy is coming back up right now. Some of these Widow Mines go off before they can fire. That Widow Mine actually does a fair bit of friendly fire damage, and those Widow Mines not able to fire either. These 2 Banshees doing the Lord's work for Terran. 9 kills on one, 8 on the other. These Queens are going to come down. They haven't respread creep yet, but they get rid of one of the Banshees, and that's going to limit that air damage from Terran. Down here, CLEM does take his 4th base on location. He's got Drilling Claws, Concussive, all this good stuff going, but the Ultra Tech is finally coming out, and with a 5th base, and now a 6th base on the way as well. 86 workers. REYNOR is rich. Look at his mineral income. 3.8k minerals a minute. That's enough to build many, many hundreds of Zerglings over the rest of this game, however long it goes for. +3 Carapace is on the way. No +3 melee just yet, but he does have Adrenal Glands. That upgrade's been forgotten in a lot of high-profile matches recently. Mass Link comes in! Oh my lord, that's massive damage! 11 SCVs going down already. The third base, he's only got Widow Mines to defend. Widow Mines will not defend your SCVs. They'll do a lot of friendly fire. The Warlock's going to get torn down as well. He tries to do the supply drop there, but does not manage to save it. Lings are into this main base. They're on the natural. They're on the third as well. He could even unburrow on the third and do more damage. The Lings hiding around this base. He knows just scanning to clean this up is going to keep Clem at home for so long. At the same time, oh, it's a trap, mate. It's a trap. Oh, Clem immediately clicks the Infester, but he gets caught by the fungal. The Ultraling jumps on top, and a very nice run by here for Clem. Let's just see how this one came in on that left side. Very little time to get the depots up there, even if he reacted a little bit quicker. And really good split of those Lings into all the bases. Super streamlined, and this is the modern pattern that we are seeing, guys. How do you counter Clem as a ZVT player? You don't play Banelings. You either play Ling Infester into really fast Ultras, or you go for a Mass Hydra into Lurker build. Both styles completely skipping on Banelings. Basically, at this point, we've realized that Clem is too good at microing and focusing Banelings down. I think even if you give the 5 hit points back to those Banelings after Bane Speed's finished, I'm not convinced it changes the calculus. I still actually think Clem is just so good that if you can find a way to skip Banelings, it's a beautifully streamlined build order. Great masterpiece, game 1 for REYNOR. Alright, game 2, Clem. Once again, running into these no Baneling stars. He's like, mate, where are my donations? You know, Clem has been living off of welfare for so long, guys. Just think about it. Every game he plays, these Zerg players just roll their Banelings in. They're like, do you want a 30 hit point unit that costs a ton and you get to kill it for free without it ever connecting with any of your units because you're Clem and you're the fastest Terran alive? And Clem's like, yes, please. Like, I will take your hand out. And REYNOR, he's like, wait a second. What if I don't give them handouts? What if I Ronald Reagan this dirty Terran player? What if I... He's like, let's bloody scale back. Let's downsize these Baneling handouts, man. Let's see how these Terrans have gotten too lazy. As if Clem doesn't have to work insanely hard to snipe those Banelings. Anyways, point being, guys, obviously, yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think REYNOR will probably try the Hydra style this time. But he's done that before against Clem on this exact map, Tokamak. And he got in an amazing position, right? We actually just cast this the other day. And he got in a crazy good spot. Clem was miles behind, had no answer to the mass lurker that REYNOR had out. But REYNOR couldn't move across the map because Clem was just dropping him from 3 sides, sniping 5th bases and just being annoying for like 5 minutes. And by the time REYNOR finally started trying to pop Nidus Worms up, Clem just shut pretty much every single one down. And, you know, REYNOR finally gets across the map. And by that point, there's like 10 plus ghosts and range libs. And that's like 5 minutes after a sizable number of lurkers were on the map. And I was thinking, you know, surely if you can just get these lurkers across the map into the bases, maybe go for a conservative Nidus just to move across, maybe just send individual lurkers out. There was a really big weak point on the map where Clem only had 3 orbitals. And I was talking while casting it a little bit about how if you go back to the Babylon map pool, maybe about 3 years ago or so, I think it was about 2022. I think it was about the time when we were doing our first live tournament after the online COVID season. There was a lot of those sorts of games where guys like Clem, they would be at the point where they start making heavy command centers and going to late game, but the Zergs would like get lurkers in and just siege them in every single base, and the Terran would just not have enough scans. And Clem lost a lot of games literally to running out of scans. And there was this window which was like Clem's weak point against lurkers. And I think if REYNOR can pull off the, you know, no Baneling into Lurker, this fast Mass Hydra Scarlet build that he did last time, obviously I'm jumping 3 steps ahead theory crafting. He might just play something completely different, maybe play Mutalisks. But if he does, it gives him a massive window, like an even bigger window than back in those days to do that. Because back in those days, you wouldn't play such a greedy build. You'd play Ling Bane, then you'd go Lurkers. And it was much later that you'd get to the Lurkers. But REYNOR has streamlined his builds. Now, guys, he does an extractor trick there just to get out another Zergling, it looks like. 3rd hatchery, is it going to die? I think he could maybe defend this. It's got 500 hit points. Ling speed's almost ready. If he wants to, he could, but there's a 5th Reaper coming over. It's a big commitment. It's a very big commitment. REYNOR lets the base finish. I don't know if that's the worst thing if the hatchery dies, if he can immediately rebuild it. But that is a big if right now. Here we go. The Ling's coming out. It's a good Ling count. REYNOR. Oh, he saves the hatchery. And if he gets every Reaper, this is massive. But he pulls back for a second there. I think he thought CLEM was going to try and juke him and go the other direction. More Lings are coming in, though. These Reapers are getting hammered. And there's no escape up here. There's just no escape. Not against that many Zerglings. He makes the best of a bad situation and does take out 11 Zerglings, but look at the resources lost. 3rd hatchery survives, and the 2-Rex Reaper does not pay off. Not only that, he dies to a Bane Bust right now. Luckily for him, REYNOR is not mining gas. If REYNOR had kept mining gas, and I keep saying this, if you guys are playing against CLEM and he does a 2-Rex Reaper, and you're not favored against him, I really believe for all the Zergs out there, the Shins, the Solars, the Rogues, the guys who've been really struggling against CLEM, maybe REYNOR feels confident enough to play a macro game, and I think he's got a good start anyway. But I do feel these 2-Rex Reaper builds, these low-ground wall-offs are incredibly vulnerable to all-ins. And it's something I'd like to see players utilize a little bit more, because that's something which... there was a Katowice a while back where players kept doing these low-ground wall-offs, and Shin just kept wrecking every Terran player. And I remember thinking it was a bit of a strategic oversight. When you know Shin loves to do Roach Busts and Bane Busts, and the Terran players were like, no, I want to put pressure on with 2-Rex Reaper. And I was like, I get it against most players. But against a Zerg that's willing to take a big gamble on an all-in like that, it is so vulnerable. Whereas if you have a wall-off on the high ground, much easier to defend this little choke point rather than the natural. Add-ons on the outside also very vulnerable. But this is going to be a macro game. Quick single Evo chamber once again. How quick does Carapace start here? I feel like REYNOR's been pretty damn good. You know, it's funny because... There we go, look at that. He's such a multitasking, jump between, constantly task switching and changing between what he's focusing on sort of player. But I think he's been doing a better and better job of really just being a bit more aware of his upgrades. Because I've always criticized REYNOR for saying, like, when the fighting gets going, he kind of forgets about the next step sometimes, or if it's not super well planned beforehand. Even in that last game, we could say, like, hey, if while defending that Hellion Banshee harassment, his Infestation Pit started 15 seconds faster, that would have been really good. His Ultra Cavern was also, I think, about 20 seconds later than when the Hive finished, right? You might think, well, you know, he's doing everything else perfectly, who cares? And I would say, don't get me wrong, actually microing your units as well as REYNOR is the perfect thing. But anywhere there's room for improvement, I always just think, what would Cyril say to himself if he was seeing these sort of little mistakes in his play? And I always think of Cyril just kind of hitting himself on the side of the head going, idiot, idiot, not good enough, not good enough. So far, it looks like it might be the exact same style as last game, guys. 3 mineral lines, only 2 gases. The Lings will run forward. Queen's a little far behind, but that's okay. Just going to have to try and pursue, but of course, CLEM can drop that side or that side. Going to drop over here. Oh, he doesn't stim to get the Overlord, which is a little surprising. Overlord does escape. Nice move. Armory's going down here, as well as a 4th and 5th barracks, so it's going to go pretty quickly into 2-2 upgrades. That's before second factory. He's building tanks. CLEM's going to push. 8 racks. I did say he might just 8 racks. Okay, so it's not going to be the Hydra style. I think the Hydra style is maybe a bit more vulnerable to 8 racks, actually, than this one. This one, with the mass Zergling Infestation Pit, is a lot later than last time, though. Goes down at 6 minutes 40. I think you have to counterattack. So when the army moves out, which is going to be in about a minute, probably about 8 minutes is when that starts moving across the map. If you can hit him from this right side with lots of Lings and cut off the reinforce, especially if you stop some of the tanks rallying across, so only maybe 2 or at most 3 siege tanks move across, that can be really effective. There is a nice little triangle here they can drop on. Bam, bam, and bam. Spore Crawler is only partially covering that. I do like the Spore Crawler reposition. Not that many workers for REYNOR this game, guys. He's adding a few more now, but he's been doing this off a lower worker count. He's not got enough gas, really, for proper infestation, infestor production. He goes single infestor into Hive, but he does have +2 Carapace ahead of Terran, which means there is no point where he'll be fighting with negative armor upgrades. But REYNOR, no scouting. He has no idea there's an 8 racks coming, and that's a problem. He has no idea what is happening in this game, and he's not looking around with these Lings for counters either. That is really problematic. CLEM has not built add-ons. He's going for it. Just a ton of Marines and tanks building at a time. 4 tanks, 50 Marines, 10 more Marines building at a time. Supply very similar between both players. REYNOR staying low on workers is good, but because he doesn't know what's happening, he's going to be tempted to drone. If he builds drones right now, he might just die. Whereas if he hides his Lings ready to counterattack, That could be really effective. Clem scouting for a run by on the right side. Like I was saying, that's where I expect the counter to come from. But actually, Reynor's ready on the left side of this map. Ooh, Fungal only gets one Marine. Great dodge there for Clem. I think you got to lead with the Infestor. It's got to be the first thing he sees is the Fungal animation. Because if you go in with your Lings, it draws his attention there. Gives him an extra half a second to pick up. Nice scan on this right side. Does miss one active tumor there, though. And so many creep tumors. Dude, giant push. All right, it's go time. Reynor's going to try and counter. There's a bunch of Marine tank at home. He's looking for the Fungals. Infesterling is right there. But, okay, doesn't go for it. Ultra Cavern's just now started. It is kind of late. The Lings trying to go in, but the Marine tank are going to hold that choke point really well. Oh, that choke point. Nice for Clem. He should be able to hold on here, even against all of this massive Zerglings. It's a meat grinder, it is. Oh, my golly. Left side, Queenling going to try and defend there. Right side, Hatchery goes down. Reynor hasn't sacrificed the large part of his army yet. He lost a lot of Zerglings there, and that is costly, though. Oh, Fungal dodge. Beautiful dodge on the Fungal. The Ling's going to try and get on top of the tanks. He's trying to move his Infestors up within minimum firing range of the tanks. The Fungal! Oh, does he have another? He doesn't quite have energy for another, though, even though he gets all the tanks. I don't think that's enough. Reynor right now, his left base is in jeopardy. His Infestors will have more Fungal energy soon. You know Clem wants to chase, but that will present another Fungal opportunity on this right side. He's going to go for it. There we go. That's what I was talking about. Another Fungal goes in. Does Clem clip the Infestors? Not quite. Transfuse goes down. Is a reaction there. One tank, 61 Marines coming forwards. Once the Ultras get out with Chitinous, it might be lights out. Back to 3 bases, though, for Reynor, and that is a huge problem. Clem only on 3 bases as well himself, 60 workers. The Link counter gets in! Reynor caught with his door down! Oh no, that is a disaster! The disaster of all disasters. He doesn't even have a high ground wall off to fall back on. Lings are ravaging him. That orbital command center is going to have to lift off. The SCVs try to go back to mining. They are getting slaughtered right now. Reynor, though, does not have a 4th hatchery. He does lose a lot of Zerglings doing this. Still a big army supply lead for Clem, but it's bought time for the Ultras. Ultras now out with 1-2, soon to be 2-2. Chitinous plating's going to be done in about 25 seconds. He can keep on Link countering as well, can Reynor, around these flanks of the map. And the Marauders coming in, as well as the Marines and the tanks. The Marines, with +2, are going to be doing 8 damage a shot. Ultralisks with +2 and Chitinous plating, I believe, have 6 armor. Which means the Marines are only going to be doing like 2 damage a shot, guys. It's not going to be a lot at all. It's not going to be very nice. Marine on the high ground with a tank trying to defend this base, but even a handful of Lings. These units are basically free for Reynor, and that Zerglings are just so cheap, right? It's the masses of them. It's the numbers that matter. That being said, lack of hatchery mining. 4th and 5th hatchery are trying to get back up for Reynor. He's trying to build a few more drones as well. Is that a bit ambitious? Maybe. Fungal does land. Ultra's going to chow down on a bunch of those. A whole bunch of Marines go down. Really good Fungal. And another Omega Fungal on the left side. Holy moly. And this is exactly what I was talking about. I've been casting a lot of Clem against Infestors over the recent weeks, especially the Shin series. And I mentioned how basically Clem, his answer to Infestors is to walk into Fungal more. If you make the game messy against him, he will take these risks over and over again. And the thing is, it was kind of painful for me commentating games where people just kept letting him clump his army up and run across the map. I was like, dude, he is always presenting these targets for these ambushes, and it's a crime that Zergs are letting him get away with it. Well, guess what? That right there is proof. Reynor says, it's time we stop letting him get away with it, because that was brutal. Reynor wins the first best of 3 and forces the final best of 3. GG, well played. All right, guys. Well, Clem gets another shot at it in the bottom right side of the map. Winner's privilege, mate. He won that upper bracket. He beat everyone there. He gets to play another fresh best of 3. And Reynor, I mean, he didn't even drop a map. Those games were pretty convincing, but they also went pretty textbook. And one has to wonder, does Reynor just 2-3 games in a row here just do the exact same build order? Does he have faith in it? Is it that solid? He looked really good with it, and I do think always the power of this build is that. So essentially, let me explain a little bit. This Mass Ling Infestor style. The Lings are so good because you're just putting all your money into them. It's just mass Zergling. You have so many more units. And whenever you can surround Marines and tanks, Lings are going to be the most efficient unit in the game. But if those Marines get in a corner, if they get sieged up here with, like, you know, tanks and Marines, and they have some Hellbats and some mines spread, there's a point where there's a critical mass of long-ranged, high-damage Terran units sitting outside your base where the Lings fall off a cliff in terms of value. So for Clem, it's about don't throw units away in small crappy fights, find the big winning fight. Problem, right at the moment when he's getting that big army that's trying to force that fight, REYNOR is consistently running like 100 Zerglings around and getting through his wall off. And that's what Clem needs to prepare for. Now, does Clem just build spotting depots outside his bases on the sides to give more warning? Does he swap into Widow Mines earlier against the Mass Zergling style? Now, there's an argument, I'd say, wouldn't Widow Mines be better than tanks? So here's the funny thing, guys. Tanks and Widow Mines are both really good against Banes. Tanks are better against Roaches and Hydras, whereas Widow Mines are just good against the Banes. And Zerglings counter both of those. The real counter to the Zergling is Marines and arguably Hellbats, though even with +3 vehicle weapons, Hellbats no longer one-shot Zerglings, right? Which that did get changed at some point. So it's actually, you know, Widow, at this level, because Ling Micro is so good, the Lings very rarely clump up for those shots. It's only really when the Banes roll in that the Widow Mines and tanks get really good value. So if you just skip those units, it's all about just getting the Marines in the right positions at the right time. You still build a few tanks or a few Widow Mines, of course, they'll still help, but they're not, you know, as effective against this style. They don't have that big value that they normally get. Now, I love that he went out with 2 drones, did REYNOR. He got the 3rd base up, does a good spore trick here, and he's going to go Creep Tumor first. This is something players haven't been doing enough, guys. I've really been saying to myself, hey, why aren't players doing this anymore? And oh, that Reaper goes down! Clem, he kind of misclicked into the corner a little bit. That's a good start for Ray. I won't call him Ray, guys. Don't worry, I'll stop. I could already hear people's, like, the hair standing up on the back of people's necks. Like, oh no. Pig gonna commentate like this? I'm like, Ray just went cray. No, I won't. I swear. I'll contain myself. I will contain myself. 3rd command center is there. Starport's gonna go down. Hellions building. But dude, this is such a good start. So yeah, everyone's been going double inject recently. But I've really been thinking, isn't it just better to do it this way? And you know what, guys? His 2nd queen popped out in the main. Didn't inject. It ran down to the natural and injected that hatchery. Because he's actually decided the injects on the natural are more important, right? Because the main's already saturated, right? So rather than have the drones pop out here and have to walk down, he decided to walk down and then inject the natural, which is kind of odd. I still would have injected the main personally. But look at the spread on the creep. Oh, losing your Reaper against REYNOR is actually criminal. Look at the creep spread. Dude, this is going to get so out of control so quickly. Oh, okay. So Clem is already fighting an uphill battle. Oh, man. You guys don't understand unless you played high-level TVZ against a greedy Zerg who's, like, just really on point with their queens. And REYNOR is the best in the world at this. But then also you lose a Reaper early on. So you can't stop because once the tumors get out past a certain... Now you've got tumors spreading here, here, and here. You can't cover all 3 lanes at the same time. You want to slow down the initial tumors getting to these positions because that's where you can contain it. At this point, it's too far out. Look, he's shielding these creep tumors so well. Oh, REYNOR's got a sick start this game. This is beautiful. Really well done. Okay, we've got a lair starting up in the main, 440. This kind of looks like a classic Baneling Nest next build. He takes an extra couple gases. He might go Mutalisks. Would be a cool way to mix it up. 2nd gas goes down. Still no Evo chamber. 3rd gas. REYNOR's going to play Mutalisks this game, I think. He could play straight into the Hydra style. I think he can play that with delayed upgrades as well. Right? Because he's got 8, 9 Queen Zerglings. Yeah, actually, no, he could play this. He could play Hydra style off this. He could play Hydra style off this opening. I think he delays the Evos with that. All right, guys. Cloaked Banshee's coming out. They're going to move out at this stage. He's kind of hidden them in the back. No, the Spore Crawlers did go down, though. Very safe play for REYNOR. No skipping on that. 6 gas, yeah. It could go Mutas, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Hydra style. Hydra into Linglurk, a very powerful style. Scarlet showcased this one a couple years ago. I think it was actually Dallas 2 years ago, right, guys? I think it was 2022 Dallas? Or no, 2022 Atlanta, maybe. Oh, Banshee's coming forward. Another transfuse does go down, but the Spore Crawler will save the day. Overseer's coming down. It is a Spire! Oh, Raider's going to go classic Mutalist style. And he's got momentum in the series. Why not bring it back to what you do best? Transfuse is going down at the last second. Overseer's there. Banshees. Oh, he wants to kill those Banshees so badly. Clem has to back away. Only 18 things on the map, but that is enough against just 6 Hellions. And look at the creep spread. It's so far out. This is what I'm saying. How do you cover it? There's too many areas where it can spread. You can't be everywhere at once. Beautiful play by REYNOR. Spreading creep most directions. Hasn't quite spread it on the north yet, but he's got a 4th on the way. Baneling Nest, double Evo Chamber. Classic Mutiling Bane style. And off of that, really good creep spread and good start. That's going to be good. On the other hand, how many times we see people with a good start and then they just die to the first stim pressure, especially if the first couple of tanks come across with it. Like if he picks up 2 tanks and moves forward, morphs Hellbats, Baneling speed ain't going to be ready. There's going to be a window here that with his first timing is quite scary to play against. There's 32 Zerglings, 9 Queens. The Queens will probably be the main anchor of defense. A lot of transfusers already got used though. So you can see he's got 3 Queens with transfusers. These 2 on the left don't actually have transfuse available just yet. So he's got, yeah, just 3 Queens with transfuse. 8 Mutas on the way, 6 Banes. Lings and Queens are ready. Creep getting slowed down. Thing is, if you get caught by these 8 Mutas on this side of the map, that could be a big problem. Of course, REYNOR might just try to sneak along the bottom, get straight into the natural. Last thing you're expecting is Mutalisks in this game, even if you do see Banelings. But he's going to try and jump on top. Oh, REYNOR just is like, nah, I got the numbers, whatever, bro, let's go. Unfortunately, I think CLEM should be able to escape. Let's see. He's got to bring everything else forward to try and support these units. Muta's going to try and fight this. Good pullback on the weak Mutas. Beautiful play there by REYNOR. He's going to go after these medevacs. He does get one of them, but it was the one with only a few Marines inside. Good pullbacks on the Mutas, though. Really good save there by CLEM to get the reinforcements forward. The Banshees as well to help defend that position. Command center's up. Drilling claws is there. +2 armor starts, +2 attack just seconds later. And of course, a monumental upgrade advantage is very standard for a Terran in this position. The worker advantage, though, 25 drones ahead for REYNOR. He's got good creep. If he can keep respreading this creep on all fronts, I think he could absolutely blossom this current map control into a massive lead. But he does need to make sure it keeps going, and it's very hard on such a big map to cover every front. There we go. He's replenishing right now. 5th base coming out. He does build no macro hatchery. REYNOR's just going to build extra bases and hope he can defend them. This one in the middle is always a bit wild, but like you kind of need to go for it. So if they do push just up the north, you can still take advantage. I mean, the bottom left corner is impossible to defend. This gold base is impossible to defend. So where else would you go? Thors are building. Thors, of course, do good splash damage against the Mutalisks if they clump up a lot. If they don't clump up, the Thor splash damage mode is kind of insignificant. But it just forces the Mutalisks to stay spread out. And of course, the Thor is a big tanky boy mixed in the army. Vehicle plating coming in, going to help the Thors and the Medevacs. Widowmine count growing, and 3 more barracks, which no doubt will get tech labs and add Marauders into the mix. Now, a lot of the time, ghosts are a really big part of TVZ. When Mutalisks are out, they are unimportant. They are completely unimportant because the hive's going to be very delayed. Yeah, they're good against Mutalisks, ghosts, but like, you know, it's nowhere near as important as just getting all these other pieces. Mass Mutiling Bane coming forward. The tank is on siege. This 4th base is not up just yet. Oh, me, oh my. Saves the tank, tries to boost back. The Widowmine's trying to come in here as well. The Bane's trying to move forward. Widowmine's not quite firing, but there we go. Does end up holding off against that Baneling swarm. The Widowmine's, of course, making a very hard area for REYNOR to engage. But REYNOR claiming map control. Does burrow. I think it was on the very edge of CLEM's vision. Looks like CLEM did not see it. Oh, no, CLEM. Oh, no, CLEM. Not like this. Oh, he walks over it. He walks over it. The Mutalisk going for the Banshee, kind of draw it in. And a big burrowed Baneling. REYNOR at his best when he has those burrowed Banelings. You know REYNOR has a big grin on his face whenever he has burrowed Banelings on the map. For him, he loves styling. Like, REYNOR has always been a very stylish player. He loves playing for the highlight clips and the highlight reels. If he can mix that into a competitive style, that's when he plays his best Starcraft. It's when there is an element of playfulness in how he's playing. That's when REYNOR plays god-tier style Starcraft. Still Mutas over here. They do find a Widowmine. As long as you clump up the Mutas, you can take down those Widowmines before they shoot. Trying to claim a bit of map control as CLEM, but against a 98 worker Zerg, whose hive is now finished. Adrenal glands starting up. Hydroden going down. He's thinking about that lurker transition. Not going to go ultras this game. And the Ling Mute are going to go for it. Big surround here going in on top. Oh, he gets the medevac that picked up the Thor. Some of the units will kind of pull back, but CLEM way too deep in enemy territory. Oh my gosh, he's got more Widowmines coming in though. Dude, CLEM's micro is unreasonable. Most players would have got routed for going that deep. The initial start of the fight was so good for REYNOR. And Reynor's only down 1,000 resources lost. Clem continuing to push deep on creep. This is savagely ambitious for Clem. There's so few Banes on the map right now. Reynor, of course, has 21 Mutalisks. He's trying to make a handful of Banes. It's mostly a Zergling Muta army with a sprinkling of Banelings. I think that's a good way to play it. No massive targets for those Widow Mines. Let's see what he can find. Thor pushes back those Mutalisks. Thor's got to be careful about going too far forward. It's the least maneuverable of these units. It's good to have it anchoring your army, but preferably from a little further back. Lurker Den's on the way. 1-2 against 2-2 upgrades right now. The Bio trying to push in north. Clem, very ambitious. Feels like this army's isolated. He's nowhere near his Widow Mines. He's only got one Widow Mine here right now. And that is potentially a huge problem. He's going to rally forwards. He's got this Widow Mine spread back here. Reynor goes around with the Mutalisks. Oh, a couple Widow Mines do fire on him. He takes out one of them, gets another. You know what? None of them landed the big splashies that would have done absolutely game-ending damage. These Mutas need to get out of here. Yes, he's going to take out the tank because that's going to allow future Baneling run-bys to be effective there. So he knew that was a prime target, willing to sacrifice a few Mutas for it. Maulings are building. These Mutalisks going to continue to poke in, pick off Refinery there on that third base. Which, of course, keeps Clem on only 4 gases right now. He's going to take 2 gases and a few turrets to try to replace it. Another Widow Mine does fire, peppering down those units, and a Thor picking up there. Looks like, did he just go high-impact payload? No, I think he just swapped off high-impact payload into the splash damage mode again, the Javelin missile launchers, which is the splash damage mode. Here we go, big fight! Reynor comes in with a beautiful flank. We may have to pick up these units, but the Mutas are coming in from behind. He's going to boost left, knowing the Mutalisks are right there. Can he get him out? The Mutalisks not quite able to stop the drop. Really beautiful evacuation by Clem. I got to tell you, man, any lesser Terran player would lose these units, and this is one of the beauties of Clem's play, his ability to push into enemy territory and escape when he oversteps. Like so many players, when they overstep like this, they get massively punished. Speaking of which, burrowed Banelings do take out another 7 or 8 Marines there. Very nice move. There are Widow Mines on the front, but they're not burrowed. The Banelings target them, which means they don't even get a chance to burrow. Mutalisks doing some decent damage. The Ling Bane rolling forwards. Reynor's got to be careful about overcommitting here. The Mutas have disengaged. The Lings continuing to fight, but the Thor will weather the storm. Seismic Spines is almost done. That's the key Lurker upgrade. Is it time to mix in some Hydras? Yes, it is. Hydras are morphing into Lurkers in the back line. He's got +1 range, +3 carapace, adaptive talons. Meanwhile, though, the command center transition is underway. Clem, his ability to maintain some map control. He's got Widow Mines, turrets everywhere. I mean, he's done a fantastic job of stopping this game from being a disaster, but Reynor does find a straight Thor. This is only 14 Mutalisks. There's not a lot left. But he's going to run around, cause a bit of havoc. Ghost's not sniping them just yet. In the top side, triple drop goes forward. Does try to pick up and pull back. The Mutalisk's not going to try to cut that one off. Widow Mine is there in the main. Does get focused down. Muta's going in. Going to go after the Ghost Academy. It's not a bad snipe, but it is a very tanky structure, the Ghost Academy. I think he's pulling back some weak Mutas. He gets it. He's like, yep, all right, just trying to disrupt. Oh, he's not really watching. Those Mutas are all going to go down by the looks of it. Ling Bane trying to roll forward to defend these Lurkers. And that mass Ling counter goes in. Oh no, they're all clicked on a Refinery. Go kill the SCVs, get in there. Reynor uses up a little bit of his surprise. Overseer on that side, all that's left of that previous Mutalisk squad. Widow Mines are firing a little bit of friendly fire, but not too badly. Vehicle plating +2's on the way, and Clem took out the northern base as well. Clem is so good at Starcraft, it is so ridiculous. He's on 5 base. Don't get me wrong, so is Reynor. He's on 5 base with even a 6th in the bottom left corner. But if he can't deal with this army, he's in big trouble. There's no Vipers, no Infestors, and it looks like Vipers are going to be absolutely essential to deal with this massive Medivacs. But wait, some Lurker shots just got off there. I just saw a whole bunch of Marines get popped. There was a bit of bio going down. The Lurker does move forward. He might lose another Lurker then. Wow, the Medivacs take a lot of damage, but they do escape. Looks like more Lings ran in, got a few SCVs. He's causing some havoc. Good job here by Reynor to at least stay active on the enemy side of the map. He's trying to make more and more Lurkers. But guess what? We're at 5, actually only 5 orbitals. This is that situation. If he can get individual Lurkers across the map in different bases, there's no way Clem has enough scans to keep scanning on the front and scanning individual Lurker harassment. Oh, the Zergling's going to come in, try and pick up a few more of these SCVs. And look at that, Zergling does drag a Widow Mine shot away. Great attention to detail. At the same time, he jumps Lings on front, but without splash damage. The Lings get cleared, the bio picks up, and Clem so smoothly, manually splits that drop. 2 spores in the main. Lurkers nearby. It's not quite on top, though. So it can't land hit straight away. Queens take out a few of these Medivacs. Lib's going to siege up there. That drop does pick up and pull away. Queens going after the double Lib. Not a good trade for these Queens. There's no Corruptors. There's no Vipers. which means this base is forfeit. A bunch of queens step into the meat grinder. And there we go, Ghost on the front as well. Clem is down in bank, but he's ahead in everything else. 7,000 resources and units lost now. Reynor is stuck being pretty much purely defensive. His Lings do catch a bunch of ghosts on the map. These ghosts do not have cloak, remember. He never upgraded cloak. That's something that's missing for Clem. He rebuilt his Ghost Academy, but he never upgraded cloak, which is a real big problem. He's going to counter up north. The ghosts and Marines walk into the lurkers. Great defense there. Massling lurker. He's got to keep attacking with these lurkers, does Reynor. Remember, Clem, when he's attacking, it is unfair. It is brutally powerful. But if you can get your defense up, it can work out. A couple snipes pop a few of these lurkers. The Widowmine's not quite able to fire. A few more snipes do go down. Third base under assault. Those orbitals are burning. How can you sleep while the orbitals are burning? Lurkers are inside the main base out of a double Nidus Worm at the same time. The orbitals are so low. The Hydra Lurker Ling. Is Reynor able to overwhelm? He might just be able to. Clem's command centers are all burning. The main base getting sieged. He doesn't have enough scans to deal with this. At the same time, there's lurkers on this base. And remember, it's this window before Terran has mass orbital and lives en masse and ghosts everywhere. If you can hit them in multiple areas with lurkers, it is so hard for Terran to deal with. Ghosts are a soft counter to lurkers. Given enough time, enough space, enough energy, and libs and planetary and orbital support, ghosts will eventually hard counter lurkers. That's if you've got time to mass them up. Reynor did not give Clem the time. Unlike that game we were talking about all series long on Tokamak they recently played, where he kind of gave Clem too much time to get to that mass orbital state, you can see how the ghosts looked really good in the small skirmishes, and the moment Reynor went pedal to the metal and had lurkers in 3 bases at once, Clem's situation just crumbled. Because remember, Clem does not build siege tanks, and that's always been his weakness in this scenario. He refuses to build tanks. He wants the more mobile Biomine Ghost Army. Makes sense, especially against a Mutalisk start, but it means he doesn't have the safety of having a few siege tanks in the backline that make this sort of lurker triple prong so much more dangerous. And that, it looked like Clem was just getting into a really good spot despite the good early game, and then that explosion comes in for Reynor. He's just getting hammered. The queens are going down. You're looking at the units lost time going bad. He can't even get that northern base. He's got lurkers stuck on defense duty. But in the midst of it, he did get the double Nidus Worm up. Hats off to him for that. I don't even know where the double Nidus is. Okay, at the third base. Unburrows a whole bunch of these lurkers, chucks them in, throws the Nidus there, shoves this side. And of course, Clem having a bunch of his ghosts kind of rally forward and get killed was not good. A lot of his units are scattered around the map because he's attacking 2-3 places at once. And yeah, the Nidus Worm's popping up. Beautiful play. These are such a big problem to deal with. And you can just see the amount of micro, the amount of energy, the amount of snipes and things. With only 2 libs, he can't deal with this. If he has 6-8 libs, he can siege a few libs here, a few libs here, has a few more scans, drops a few more scans. Remember, he was only on like 5 orbitals, and 3 of them are all burning down now. So it's pretty much lights out there. Beautiful play by Reynor, only 1 game away from winning the grand finals. All right. 3 wins in a row against Clem. When was the last time anybody did this? Hot damn. Reynor on the bottom left side of the map. And let's see if he can close this series out. Or can Clem fight back? Clem are really enjoying the 2-Rax Reaper. It didn't feel like it panned out for him too well 2 games ago. This is the second game of the previous series. Likewise, I think losing the Reaper at the start of that last game really hurt, like a lot. And this looks like a pretty standard opening. Oh, we're going 17. Oh, we're doing a pool first, are we? 17 pool? Ah, okay, 17 gas, 17 pool, hey? Interesting. Okay, so Reynor's going to go 17 gas, 17 pool. And then an 18 hatchery, I would imagine. It's a very late hatchery. Now, this is good for punishing a command center first. Sometimes, because you can Ling Flood. Other times, it's good for obviously punishing early 2-Rax Reaper, because you can surround the Reapers with a quicker Ling speed. I don't think it really puts you economically ahead against the Reapers, but it just gives you so much control, so they can't really do too much. And you could do a Baneling Bust off this opening. I've talked about that. I don't think this is the best map for Bane Bust. Yes, there's 2 openings, but, you know, it is a relatively tight ramp. The add-ons are on the inside as well, but it's an option. It is an option. Reaper starts up. Second barracks is there as well. J Shred says, when was that, chat? Sorry, you'll need to be a bit more specific. Sometimes people are watching with pretty low connections, or they've got a bit of buffering, so you might be 20, 30 seconds behind on the stream. Usually not if you've got a good connection, but if you've been watching for a while, your internet's buffered a few times, might be a bit longer, so. think the reason people aren't answering is they don't know what you're talking about, because I don't either. Maybe you're asking when this series was. This series was played like 4 hours ago. I don't know. Something like that. 4, 5, 6 hours ago at most, I think. It's the finals of the Monday Night Weekly we're casting right now. Command center on location. Reaper's coming forward. First one's going to go into that main base, and it's going to see a very early Ling speed. Maybe Reynor should have hid the spawning pool just to disguise what he was doing a little bit more. I don't think it matters too much, though. And actually, it might scare the Reapers or off from jumping in. And actually seeing the Ling speed upgrading might make it harder to scout the Roach Warren. So he's going to go, guys, for 10 Zerglings, and then he's going to do a Ravager Ling all-in. Ooh, unfortunately, it's a 4-rax for Clem. Clem's doing a 2-base 4-rax mass marine push. Oh my gosh. I think he builds his second tech lab for combat shields in the back of the base. This could even be a boy pool for Clem, which is obviously bad into Roachling, but also, like, whoever attacks first is worse off here. I think both players can defend the other one's attack, but it's whoever attacks first might actually be in a worse position. And with 5 roaches already building, Rain is pretty committed. Can he get across the map before Stim finishes? 90 seconds. That's a long time. 1 minute 55 minutes. Yeah, he can get there. Okay, so this is okay. If he can get rid of Stim, it's actually good, because Clem doesn't have any vision right now. He doesn't know this is happening. Yes, he's building 5 Marines at a time. He's not gone for the second tech lab, so no combat shields on the way. And that means no backup tech lab to make Stim off. And there's enough space here for Ravagers to kind of outrange Marines pretty hard. Reapers trying to move across the map is a crazy choice for Clem. Oh, this is wild, wildly dangerous. And Clem's still, he's bullying the Zerglings. Oh, but he doesn't see the roaches. He doesn't see the roaches. This is crazy. The Ling's willing to sacrifice themselves to try and disguise the roaches, but now it's being spotted. And I think the roaches are close enough. There's no time to build a bunker. These Reapers, dude, they're actually killing so many Zerglings. It's crazy. How many Lings? He gets 9 Lings for 2 Reapers so far. The third one will go down. Marines are going to come forward. He needs to pull SCVs as well, though. 1 roach already falls, but a Marine does as well. He's got to protect Stim. He needs to pull boys. The boys need to pull. He needs to hold the high ground. The Overlord's here, giving high ground vision. Roach Ravager Ling coming in. Bile tries to land. Does take out 2 Marines. SCVs have been pulled. Roach Ravager micro for Rain is pretty good. The Marine count getting very low. Stim is vulnerable. Remember, if Stim goes down, it's so bad for Clem long term. But right now, Clem has way more workers. I think he maybe needed to pull even more workers. I don't know. This is so hard to see. Right now, the Stim, it's almost finished, but not quite. He pulls back the SCVs. Marauder pops on the outside of the wall off. He's going to get inside the bunker with that Marauder and a Marine, which is a very good call. Bile's trying to come in. Stim's going to finish. Stim is going to finish. He pulled his SCVs back. Wild bravery for Clem there. As the Mass Ravager Ling all-in continues, Clem needs to build more bunkers, and he just needs to survive. I think he doesn't realize maybe that this is actually completely all in. Clem, supply blocked right now, does do a supply drop on the high ground. He's going to start a factory in the midst of this. Stim is finished. He tries to go forward with the Marines, but those Ravagers do outrange. You've got to be really wary, because look at that. Bile's hitting the reactor and both barracks. SCVs try to come forward to repair. He can't afford to lose all of his production, so he has to lift to fly away. Almost loses that barracks by flying over the Bile. These Marines are going down. The SCV's trying to repair this. Clem, his production's getting cut down, even though he has more money. If he can't turn that into fighting units, will it even matter? I'm not sure. It feels like right now 15 Marines, 1 Marauder are going to struggle to defend this. He's going to have to Stim to try and fight it off. The Marines fighting on that right side. The SCVs have to dodge the Bile, which means the bunker goes down. The Ravager Ling is on top. Those Marines on the backside doing pretty well. A lot of SCVs do go down. Marines and SCVs trying desperately to hold out. 4 Marines building at a time, but the barracks are burning as we speak, and an SCV does get Bile down. These Ravagers putting pressure directly on the production. Still up 6 workers is Clem. Clem refusing to go down. This man is hard to kill. Dude, it's so hard to get him out of here. These Ravagers, there's 5 of them. If they get focused by the Marines, it could be lights out. But I think Clem needs to pull all the SCVs from the main and just go for one big Stim and push him off this high ground. But that Overlord, Reynor does such a good job of protecting this Overlord so that it's unable to get sniped. 3rd and 4th barracks go down. He's back to the main base. And that Overlord is still there providing high ground vision. Reynor, so good with the Overlord. He's just going to inch this Overlord forward a little bit, see what's up there, and that's going to allow these Ravagers and Lings to go in. Reynor droning up behind this. He says, oh, you're back to 1 base? I can drone up. And the one way I could lose this game as Reynor is if I force my way in and throw my units away. But he realized if he just harasses and doesn't overcommit, unless Clem presents him with a good fight, that could be massive. SCVs are being pulled. It might be time to run away. I think running away is the best move for Reynor. I love this choice. Clem so desperately needs one big decisive engagement. And REYNOR says, no, I'll just keep fading away because I've got the movement speed advantage. I've got the range advantage. 6 range against 5 Ravagers against Marines. Extra movement speed as well, unless you stim, which of course there's no way to heal out of a stim. As we speak, the Ravager on Reddit points almost dead, but the factory goes down. These Ravagers dancing back and forwards. The Overlord being babysat so well. One Ravager finally falls, but Marines are going down. And REYNOR, he's still building Zerglings behind this. He's not transitioning. Oh, he's actually still all inning. I saw him build 3 drones. I thought he would be full transitioning. He's still going all in. He feels like he's got CLEM cornered. And you know what? These Biles are absolutely savage. They're so good. They separate the SCVs from the Marines. He puts them in between the 2 army types. The SCVs are meant to body block, but if the Marines are running away, it's not going to work out. REYNOR takes him down with a Gash Pool Ravager Ling Cheese to finish off the series. That is a 4-0 victory for REYNOR. What a crazy result that is. So impressive, and I've said it for a while, these 2 Rex Reaper openings, they are always vulnerable. But REYNOR, he committed super hardcore with the early Ling speed and gets a lovely win there. Really good Ranger builds for REYNOR. 2 Infesta into very fast Ultra openings off Mass Ling, skipping Banelings at the start of the series, and then he goes for Mutalisk play with a classic Ling Bane, Burrowed Banes into the Ravager Ling Cheese. Great range from REYNOR. And CLEM just was not ready for it. What an awesome surprise result this was for REYNOR. GG, well played.